Hi, I'm Kelly-Anne Appleton, and I am the founder of Downsized Design. I'm about to be on the online prosperity show, and I'm going to share with you how to downsize your home without the overwhelm.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a very special guest who's here to help us declutter our lives in the most stylish way possible. Now, Kelly-Anne, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Prosper. Happy to be here with you.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to be talking decluttering and style. And, I wonder how both those words could be in the same sentence, because I know when we're decluttering, it's a whole bunch of rubbish, but I know what then remains after that is an elegant and, an essence or a place that we would like to feel like we belong. Now, for those that are just joining us today, I want to introduce you to Kelly-Anne Appleton. She's a downsizing expert with a knack for turning chaos into calm. And Kelly-Anne combines her skills as a realtor, mindset coach, interior designer, and hey, she was once a teacher, so she would literally know how to put you in line. And she's there to help individuals and families transitions to smaller spaces with ease and joy. And if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the thought of downsizing, I think this is the right episode for you. So stay tuned. Now, Kelly-Anne, I mean, you've had quite a journey from being an elementary teacher, an elementary school teacher, to now becoming a downsizing expert. Tell us a little bit about this journey and why you actually did this career shift.
Sure. I taught school for 25 years. And as I was coming to the end of my teaching journey, I realized that I wanted to learn something new, and real estate and design was always something that I loved. I started decorating. My first decorating job was when I was 16 years old, and I redid my bedroom. So it was always an area that I loved. And about 10 years ago, I was still teaching full time, but I decided to go and get my real estate license. And for 3 years, I continued to teach full time and sell real estate part-time. At that time, not involved really with downsizing. And then about 8 years ago, I retired fully from teaching and dove right into the real estate career full-time. I've always been what I call a seeker. I have always loved personal development and kind of dove into that, have been working in that area for about the last 20 years. But over the last 5 years, really, I guess when COVID started really diving into that. And I actually was certified to teach a program called Thinking into Results, which was a mindset coaching program. So I started doing that for 3 years while I was still selling real estate. And I got to a point in that journey where the real estate business was going really well, but the mindset work was feeling a little forced. I was feeling a little overwhelmed with that. And so for me, I took a step back, and maybe this is a little bit woo-woo for some people, but I asked the universe for a sign as to what I should be doing next. And at that time, my husband and I had decided to downsize our home. We lived in a larger home, and we were probably a little bit young to be downsizing. We're 58 and 59 years old. But we actually made a decision to build what we in Canada would call a semi-detached home, and to move my parents, who are in their 80s, into that home beside us. So we made that decision to do that. And The day that we sold our home, which sold very quickly, I posted a video. And I just told people that I was going to take them on a journey with me. I was going to share with them some of the design tips that I had used in my home. And I was going to take them on this downsizing journey with me and share with them kind of the trials and tribulations of that and the lessons that I learned along the way. That was the beginning of this downsizing journey, because what happened for me, Prosper, is I went from about 800 followers on Instagram to, within the first month or two, I went up to 24,000 followers. My video went viral. And to me, that was my sign that I was supposed to be following in this path. I was amazed at how many other people were struggling with exactly the topics that I was talking about. How many, especially women, were reaching out to me and saying, I'm in the same position. I'm trying to downsize and it's such a struggle. I'm feeling so many emotions. I don't know what to do. It feels so overwhelming. And that was my real sign. I felt that this was an area of need, that this was an area that I could really serve people in. And that's how I got into this downsizing work. It combines, as you said, it combines my skills in real estate, in mindset work, because there is a lot of mindset work in downsizing, and in design. So I've brought all of those things together, and I'm really excited about the work that I get to focus on now, helping people downsize their home and remove the overwhelm that so many of us feel during this process of our lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that journey with us. I think by the end of this, we'll be asking for you to sign autographs because, I mean, you're a celebrity in your own right there. Yeah. Where is this Instagram sitting now? Is it still at 24 or?
No, it's at 27,000, almost 27,200. It just keeps growing, which is
Absolutely.
amazing to me. I never, ever would have expected that, never intended for that to happen. It just, yeah, there's a lot of people who are, especially in, I think baby boomers, that whole baby boomer, most of my followers would be from 60 plus. And there's a lot of people in that age group who are starting to consider the whole idea of downsizing. And there isn't a lot of information out there, which is what I learned, that there really weren't a lot of resources for people to kind of learn from and to get some wisdom from. So that's why I think people have been attracted to the work that I'm doing and what I'm sharing.
Absolutely. Well, I guess Marie Kondo right now is probably shaking in her boots because we've got a new decluttering queen in our midst here. And congratulations on that. It's not easy. First of all, just putting yourself out there. And second of all, maintaining that so much that people are actually learning from you. Now, you bring about so many things here that obviously we're going to be going through on this call today. I quite like where you have, I think, found your stride because you're bringing in the teaching aspect, you're bringing in the mindset aspect, and you're also bringing in the knowledge of real estate and your talent of, downsizing and your lived experience. And I think the reason why there's no information like this, not so many people have gone through all of those things in order for them to be able to tick these boxes. And I think that's why you're strategically positioned for this, you
Yeah,
know?
I think I think it's definitely my lived experience has taught me so much. I don't think I could be sharing what I'm sharing if I hadn't gone through it myself, because I've really learned. And so I've been able to pull some of those tools that I had and some of the skills that I had and really combine them with, I think there's nothing like learning from somebody who has gone through what you're going through. I don't think
Fantastic.
anybody can teach. I think it's harder to teach from a perspective of not having lived something. And so I think that's what makes me maybe unique in what I'm sharing.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention that you waited for a sign, and obviously the video going viral obviously validated the concept and the
Mhm.
business that people wanted. Have you always been looking for signs as you're going because you've moved in different places? Have you waited until the sign presented itself, or was this just the one time where you felt compelled to follow that intuition?
I've always looked for signs. I believe, again, a little bit woo-woo maybe, but I believe that the universe is always working for me. That if I'm quiet enough and ask, I will be guided. That there is a divine guidance. And so I have always asked for signs along the way. I have never quite had such a strong message so quickly as I had with this video going viral. I've never had anything like that happen.
Fantastic. And what resonated the most with the people that seemingly were connecting, especially with this video?
I think it was more the what I've since I've been doing a lot of videos and I've been putting out this content now for about 7 months. And the videos that seem to resonate the most with people are the ones where I talk about the emotions of downsizing. There's lots of information around about decluttering your home and, how to get your home ready for sale, how to search for a new home, those kinds of things. There's very little available about the actual emotions. What are you going to be feeling as you go through this? And often they are very unexpected emotions, and people don't understand that they will be feeling all of these emotions, and it stops them in their tracks. And that's what overwhelms them is the emotions become so strong, and then they just feel stuck.
Absolutely. And given the fact that you are sort of appealing to 60 plus, women, especially, these are people that have lived their lives. They've maybe raised kids in this home. They have, gone through everything that they've gone through. I can just look around in my office right now. Everything has some sort of value. Maybe my kids just came in and left me. um you know they've made this little paper, what do you call this, slinky thing, and I'm just putting it on my desk, but somebody else who doesn't understand or know what that means or what was happening at that particular time will just probably throw that in a bin because that's just paper. But for other people, it's their lives, it's their memories and everything else that comes along with it. So, can you maybe explain what some of these emotions are? Because usually so many people, if you can't name it, you can't tame it.
Hmm. Exactly. And I think it is all of those memories. It's all of the things that are tied to memories that people have such a hard time with. So as you say, you look at that set of dishes that you have that maybe you got from your mother that you might not never ever use, but those were your mother's. And so you want to keep those. You have the Christmas decorations that your children made all through their years in school. And so those have memories for you. And so many people they're afraid to let those things go for fear that the memories are going to go with them. And so one of the things that I help people do is to try and separate the memory part. They're not actually in the things that you have. Oftentimes, now that's not to say you're getting rid of all your things, because there will be things that you want to keep. But when you look around your home, if you feel that everything is important and everything has so much value, then really what you're saying is nothing is valuable, because you should be able to choose the few things that have true value, that are really special. Like if everything is important, then really nothing is important to you. So it's really being able to see how the value of certain things you will maintain, and those special things, those things that you truly love, of course you want to keep those as you move forward into the next chapter of your life. But realistically, you can't keep everything, because mostly you're moving to a smaller space. So there are things that you have to let go of. And it's just being able to separate the emotions, to know that those things, we get so caught up. There's so many emotions around your things, whether it's guilt about how much money you spent on them, whether it's they were a gift and so you can't let them go. Like we have so many emotions around those things that it's really learning how to understand what those emotions are, where they came from. And then once you have that awareness, you're better able to work through them, to be able to let go of some things as you declutter your home and purge your home.
Absolutely. Now, I'll tell you something, Kelly. You know, when I came from Africa, I had nothing but a backpack, you know, with like my clothes and everything else. But, you know, just looking this morning, I was just looking for a shirt that I could wear. And, you know, I've got a whole wall full of shirts now, and none of those would fit in a backpack. I mean, not any of those would fit in a backpack, but each of them has maybe a particular occasion or a particular date that I wore them and I was winning an award, and I just want to hold on to that just based on, you know, that sort of emotion. So what sort of strategy would you then give people? I know there are other, you know, practitioners that say if something doesn't give you energy anymore, you want to let go of it. You know, do you have any sort of strategy or structure that you then give people, or ideas of how they can determine, you know, what's worth and what's not worth anymore?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing that you do is to start to divide. You always start with an area that has less emotion for you. So it sounds like maybe you have some emotion with your clothes, but some people don't have a lot of emotion with their clothes. So that's often a good place to start, is to be able to, you know, kind of create boxes of, you know, this is to donate. This definitely I want to keep. This maybe is trash because it's soiled or it's ripped or whatever. So to be able to kind of create to go into your closet, to look at a thing, whatever it is, and then to choose a place that it's going to go, a box that it's going to go in. To touch everything once rather than to go through it and to, you know, to not be, to look at something and say, well, I'll come back to that, or I'm not sure what I want to do with that. You're better to put them in piles as you go. Clothing is often something that is easier to do that with, as are things like your kitchen. Easier to do. It becomes more challenging when you have very sentimental items. So things that belonged to somebody else, or things that have a special meaning to you. And definitely those are things that you can decide. this was a really good, I loved this idea of choosing a table in your home and making a decision that, okay, I'm going to go through all of these boxes of things that I have. Maybe it's in your, I don't know, in Australia, if you have basements. I know some countries don't really have basements. We have basements. And so you go, oftentimes the things that you don't really use go into your basement and they're put in boxes. So to choose a table or a space in your home that you say, okay, I'm going to this area, I'm allowed to keep all the things that can fit onto this table. And only those things, because you have to know also, where are you going? How much room do you have? So that's one of the other things that I help people do, is to actually space plan and to look at their new home and to say, what do I actually have room for? Because you don't want to be taking things with you that you have no space for. So if you can decide on, okay, I have room for this many sentimental things in my new home. So I'm going to fill this table with the things that I really love. Choose the things you really love first. If you have a, you know, I have a pocket watch that was my grandfather's. That is very special to me, and I will carry that everywhere that I go with me. I have a few pieces that were given to me by my grandmother. Those are things that I will always keep with me. But then I have a lot of other things that I have kept because they were special, but they don't have that meaning to me anymore. So those are the things that I can start to let go of or consider letting go of.
Mm, fantastic. Now, Kelly-Anne, we don't have basements as such in the new
Okay.
homes, but our garages, our
Okay.
garage is where it's at. Usually all families in my area have two cars, and the streets are packed with the cars that are supposed to be living in the garages. So that tells you that all that stuff we're talking about has found its way outside the house, but not necessarily close to being thrown out, but it's still in the
Right.
garage still, where everything else just seemingly gets to stay. Now, I've noticed you've created a 6-step sort of roadmap that helps people eliminate success. Could you just maybe walk us through that 6 steps so that people have, a clear indication of where
Sure.
to start and how that actually looks like?
Yeah, so these are things that I think maybe people aren't thinking about when they downsize. So um, the first one is to decide on your why and to really get clear as to why you are downsizing. Whether it is, and there's many reasons that people downsize. Unfortunately, some people are forced into it, which is not, I want people to be able to choose. So that's why I think you need to, or people should begin early the downsizing journey. So, what is your why? Is it to free up money, equity in your home? Is it because your health is changing? Is it, for mobility reasons? Is it because you want more freedom to travel? Like, what are your reasons? And get really clear on that. So every time that it gets challenging, you know what your why is, and you can look to that. It's really like setting any kind of a goal, Prosper. I'm sure you set lots of goals where you have to know what your why is to be able to keep going. So that is one really important step that I help guide people through, and that's not something that a lot of people think about when they're downsizing. The next one is communication. So, obviously, if you are living with a partner or a spouse, that is going to be a really incredibly important part of the journey, because what I hear from many people and what I experienced with my husband is that people aren't always on the same page. So, one person might want to downsize and the other doesn't want to. So I guide people through some of the conversations that they can be having with their partner if they do not agree. And I also help them the other conversations to be having are those with your family. So oftentimes, if you are older and your children need to be part of this journey with you, those are conversations that are going to happen. And often they're difficult conversations, especially if they are, with children, with parents who are struggling a bit, who don't want to downsize. So the communication piece is really, really important so that everybody feels heard and everybody can try to get on the same page with things. The next one is to take some time to explore your options. So this is where you're going to start looking at, is renting or buying a home the best thing for you? Renting an apartment, buying an apartment, whatever it is. And what are your options? How much is your current home worth? What can you afford to buy? And what are the options in your area for downsizing? Every area has different, there's a lot of communities that have 55 and over communities. We don't have those where I live, but there are a lot of countries that have those kind of things. So exploring what your options are before you ever make a decision. You have to know where you could go. The next one is visualizing. I'm a firm believer in, you have to go there in your mind before you can actually go there. So spending time seeing yourself in your downsized space. What does it look like? What does it feel like? How do you live in that space? How does it, what are the feelings that you want to feel in that space? So really visualizing yourself there, it helps you so much to be able to understand what you want, maybe what you don't want. And it just brings you closer to that vision of really what you want to create in your new space, in your new chapter. The next one is sharing. Once you've kind of made a decision, is sharing that decision with family and with friends. This is not always going to be a positive experience for many people, because you can share this, your decision to downsize, or you're thinking about downsizing. Your family might not be supportive of it. Your friends might think you're crazy for doing it. My friends said that to me. Why would you ever leave your home? So being able to understand that not everybody is going to be supportive of this, and having that awareness and understanding of that before you tell them, that will help you to kind of stay strong and stay confident in your decision that this is the right thing for you. And then the last one is really an acceptance of the fact that this is going to be challenging. This is not going to be an easy task. This is going to have create emotions that you maybe never thought were going to come up. This is going to create difficult conversations. This is physically challenging too, because you're going to declutter your home. You're going to pack up your things. A move is one of the most stressful things that people can go through. So accepting that this is not going to be easy. I'm going to ask for help when I need it. But what I'm going to find on the other side of this is going to be so worth the journey. So those are the things, the 6 steps. Now, that doesn't include any of the real estate work, any of preparing your home. I mean, I help people with all those things too in my own city. When I can work with you one-on-one, I can prepare your home, I can sell your home for you, I can do all those things. But these other 6 steps of the roadmap, I believe, are very important steps to walk through to prepare yourself for what's ahead on the journey.
Mm-hmm. This is so comprehensive, because it really takes somebody on a journey to have an understanding of why they're doing this, and actually then accept that this is what it's going to be, and have a way of starting to deal with it. Because And I think the other one is the sharing part, because not only will maybe people say, hey, I can come and help you declutter or take some things off of you, or maybe if there's your siblings and maybe they might take on the things that you feel very emotionally attached to. If they belong to your parents, they're still staying within sort of the family, but it sort of gives you that accountability as well, because then people are like, you're at this barbecue, aren't you supposed to be decluttering, you know what I mean? So things of that
Mhm.
nature. But while you were talking, Kelly-Anne, I don't know if in Canada you have the same. We've got these low cost airlines that lower you in with a very low fee. You know, let's just say maybe the flight normally would cost maybe $400, but they would say, hey, for $58 you can travel to wherever you're going, but you start paying for just about everything else. You know, if you need a
Mhm.
trestle table, they add maybe $10. If you've got a kilogram above the luggage you're supposed to be carrying, you're paying for another seat or things like that. Before you know it, you're already paying a lot more money than just having had paid, what it is that you're supposed to pay in the first place. So I've then concluded that it's actually much more expensive to travel heavy. And that's where a lot of people are holding on to all these things, and it's costing them a lot of money, energy. And some of these people will end up going and renting out a storage facility,
Mhm.
which adds on to an already stressful situation, and things like that. So yeah, what do you sort of think about this this setup that so many people are traveling heavy, and it's costing them a lot of stress instead of just letting go and pay the $58?
Exactly. We do have an airline like that. So I can relate to that. Um, I think everything that you own, everything in your home does, and I loved how you talked about energy, it does cost you energy. So whether it is the clutter that's around you, whether it's the clutter on your computer, the clutter in your home, the stacks of boxes that you haven't opened, the things that you keep in your cupboard that you have to keep clean, like everything in your home costs you energy. All your possessions cost you some kind of energy. That is energy that you can't use for other things, because all we have is energy. And if the things that you are trying to hold on to are costing you so much energy, then you don't have the energy to do the things that you really desire to do. And oftentimes people are so caught up with, and that's one of the reasons why I talk about your why, because oftentimes people don't even really know their why. They don't know what can be in this next chapter of their life. They don't, because they have been, for so many, especially for women, they have been a mother for so long, and they have given so much to their families, to their homes, that they don't, in many ways, that's part of their identity. And they're afraid to give that up for a new sense of freedom or a new identity without those things. So I think that whole idea of, there is such a move to minimalism, and we have been such consumers, that, like when you really do start to take an inventory of your home, you realize, and I did that, like I realized that, wow, I just consumed so much. And I don't need all those things. And I don't want them anymore. I'm at a point in my life where those things aren't important to me anymore. I mean, it's still nice to have nice things, but I want the things that are not possessions. I want the experiences. I want my family around me. I want all of those kind of things. And I think as we grow older, those are the kinds of things that we want to be spending our energy on.
Absolutely. Now, Kellyanne, when we first started, you said the mindset coaching that you were doing earlier started to feel a little bit forced, and you just didn't feel yourself doing that, as in it wasn't aligned. But I'm actually sensing, after working with a lot of people now, there's a lot of mindset coaching that now needs to happen, and I'm feeling like you now have that stride in utilizing that skill set, and then actually, from having a decluttering client, you can actually have a coaching client pretty much after that, because they're going to need to ongoing work, relating to who they're now becoming after they've let go of who they were.
You're right. And the whole idea of downsizing has so it's so deeply entrenched in mindset. Like that whole idea of, of letting go, of spending energy, of identity, all of those things. And really, it's the mindset when you start the downsizing journey. If you decide that in your downsizing journey, you're losing, you're going to have a negative experience in downsizing. If you have a mindset of, this is a new adventure, this is a new phase of my life, and I'm excited about it, you're going to have a totally different experience than somebody else. So all of that mindset work is so, so strong. And I mean, I'm very passionate about that. And because, as you say, it is so involved, I've actually started sharing a little bit more about that whole mindset journey, sharing a little more than I was in my content, because I know it's a really important part of a successful downsizing journey, is a positive mindset.
Absolutely. Just from what you're saying, a big part of this is just having an understanding of the story behind all of the things that you're holding on to. I mean, in our world, you can't climb the ladder of success with your hands full, because obviously all those things are just going to be pulling you down. And if you want to go further in whatever part of your next adventure, I mean, I've seen people that have sort of retired, move into a smaller house, and spend all their times traveling or on cruises and things like that. You can't do that if you're just holding on to whatever stuff that you have. It doesn't fit in a suitcase that you'll be taking into your cruise cabin. But Kellyanne, people are just going to look at this and say, you've been a teacher, so you probably know how to do things. You've been a coach, so you probably coached yourself into having an understanding of this, and you've done real estate, and how big rooms are, so you know how many things you need to take with you when you go to the next step. Have you had any success with other people, or maybe can you share a memorable story of somebody who literally decluttered, let go, and now they're having their best life, or they're living their best life, which just showcases the impact of your holistic approach to downsizing?
So I actually am really, in many ways, just beginning to work with clients in the downsizing space. So I do have a few people that I'm currently working with who, I mean, obviously I did it myself. I have also worked with my parents to downsize. So I've worked with them very successfully. And right now working with a couple different couples who are using, with the help of a professional organizer, which I definitely encourage people to do if they're really struggling to go through things. And she is wonderful and empathetic and very caring, and with asking the right questions, helps people understand the things to let go, or appreciate the things that they can let go of. So I'm working in that capacity with some clients right now who have not yet sold their houses, but are in the process of selling. Certainly, I have also worked, my son is my partner in real estate. So my son and I have actually, we have also done some work with people downsizing, but it was really before I created this focus in our business on the downsizing. This is relatively new for me. So
Fantastic. Now, what would be the best way that people can get started with you? I know you're already famous, but some people would would want a little bit of hand holding, that they can sort of get started because, like you said, everybody's so overwhelmed. But with empathy and skill that you come to the table with, it will make somebody's journey a lot easier.
So I just launched my website. And it is downsizeddesign.com. And on there is access to a free call with me. I really like to be able to talk to people about how I can best support them. And in talking to somebody, I can lead them to the support that is right for them, whether that is a professional organizer, whether that's a little bit more hand holding with me, some one-on-one work. I also am doing a few online courses, doing a masterclass right now, which will then be recorded and be available on my website. I also have a freebie guide, which is a great PDF guide for, it's called Where to Begin. Where do I start? And it is a decluttering, the first steps to decluttering, which really is the first step for most people in their downsizing journey. Even if you're not going to downsize, if your plan is to stay in your home for another couple years, decluttering is a great place to start, even today. And so that guide is available. That's a free guide available for anybody. So that's
Absolutely.
those. And then, of course, on social media, yeah, Instagram, Appleton Kelly-Anne, and I also have a Facebook account, Kelly, and that's at Kelly-Anne Appleton.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, for those that are watching right now, I will put all the links in the show notes. And yeah, go on and follow Kelly-Anne on Instagram. And obviously, there's 27,000 other people that couldn't be wrong about what's going on. And I'm just worried, Kim Kardashian might actually be be shaking in her boots because this kind of numbers are not easy to come by, especially in the kind of realm that you're in. So congratulations on that part. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below. Now, Kelly-Anne, we've come full circle. I mean, obviously you've showcased to us who you are, where you've been, and things of that nature. But this all started when you actually redid your room at 16 years of age. But, if you look back to that girl, you wouldn't have thought that what you were doing in that particular time was going to now be the thing that's making other people be, do, and have a happier existence. Now, if you would look back at that time, I know you're an energy person and everything else. What sort of advice would you give your younger self when you were just maybe, cleaning your room? Then you would have thought maybe, oh, this is boring, or I could be doing something cooler. But if you would maybe come across some advice, what would you have wanted that advice to be?
oh gosh, I think it would be, you are more powerful than you believe yourself to be. You can create anything you desire in your life.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you sure have. I mean, Kellyanne, you have your unique skill set that you have built into this, and there's no other person that would have gone through the journey that you went through and is doing the same kind of thing. So and the proof is in the people that are following you. So good on you for having felt that and went with it, and followed your intuition and listened to the signs. You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
absolutely.
it's been a wonderful journey, and I'm excited about where I'm headed. Yes.
Great stuff. Well, you just obviously went on to the next thing. Where is that you're headed? What can people expect? I know, fame is already out of the question. It's already been done. What else can people expect?
I think they can just continue to expect some great content on downsizing, on decluttering, on mindset. I will continue to share my journey and we've been in our new home for 2 months. So I will continue to share decorating tips and design tips. And I'm going to be doing some online consultations, design consultations, and yeah, I just want people, I want people to help people create, for them to create their smaller space as their favorite place. I
Oh,
want everybody to feel like, you know, that their new space is the place that they always dreamed of. So that's my desire, to serve people in that way.
absolutely. I mean, if you look at the quality of life, it really stems from where you sleep and where you get your water. And, that is your abode. And if you can't get that, there's one thing that I heard, that the reasons why, a lot of people, especially those that are not decluttering, travel a lot, is because they want to go to spaces like a hotel where it's minimalistic and there's not much in that room, that they just feel relaxed for a little bit before they go back to their own stuff back home and things of that nature. So but that's still costing you a lot of money, as we have already established. So yeah, thank you so much, Kelly, for the time that you spent on the call with me today. I mean, you've shared with us your inspiring journey and all these invaluable insights with us today, because so many people, like you say, are feeling overwhelmed, with their next stage in life, and you're, helping them move there with ease and grace. So I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Prosper. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Absolutely. And for those that are watching, if you found this episode helpful, make sure to just re-watch it and take notes of all the gems that Kelly-Anne has shared with us today. And if this is not for you, I encourage you to maybe share this video with somebody who's probably feeling overwhelmed right about now with decluttering, and they are not sure what the next logical step would be. Kelly-Anne has figured it out, and she's got a 6-step process that she has elaborated that can take you from chaos to calm. And wouldn't that be nice? So thank you so much for watching up until now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more enlightening conversations and expert advice. One of the things that Kelly mentioned was sharing your journey. I feel like that's part of what we should do. If you want, just to hold yourself accountable, write the word declutter in the comments there, so that we can, Kelly can just, look at what it is that you're doing, and she can maybe follow up with you. Until next time, stay prosperous. Bye for now.